No, we can discuss after if I have to.
This
I'm
is
just
where
gonna.
Nick is quitting the podcast.
You'd have to
Oh,
kill me for me to quit.
well, I mean, you can arrange that.
Careful, Tyler. You just might have admitted to collusion for murder on air on the internet.
Not collusion, just premeditated. Oh, you don't think I do my own shit, Nick? You think I'm afraid to get my hands dirty?
Yeah, because the moment
ass
you
just
cross
like
the
everybody
border,
else.
somebody, the moment you cross the border, somebody would be really nice to you and be like, "Oh shit, okay." It wouldn't be me. I wouldn't be the one being nice to you.
Yeah, human resources, which is pretty much anybody in Canada. Well, sorry to hear about that, bud. Well, I took care of that for you. No, Nick, you are going to live a long, healthy life with me. Together. Oni-sama. Ara.
Almost put we're recording episode number 489 live.
Jesus Christ. No, we got another 9 years for that. Have we hit the 1 year mark yet? Is this it or is it next week still?
I mean, it's in between this. The official day will be in between this and next episode. But essentially, either we could count this or we could count the next episode. I think we should count the next episode because at that point, the 1 year mark would have passed, and also it'd be episode 50.
Okay, if you
Yeah.
say so.
Just a suggestion. This is a democracy.
Where the fuck did my voice go?
All right, let me get ready here.
Sure. I gotta stretch my throat. Usually I just deep throw something, but air's just gonna have to do. Oh man. God bless being sick. Holy shit, it's so weird seeing you over the internet now. Also, you and your fancy whatever you're doing to change your voice, I could call through your bullshit now. I know what you sound like, motherfucker.
I didn't do anything. I didn't even move up the bassiness on voice meter. It's just this is just what the microphone does.
You sound like 5 feet tall. I know you now.
Well, okay then.
Can't believe I got audibly catfished.
Let me just check. Okay, mic is correct. Getting closer.
Yeah, I better check mine.
If it helps, it doesn't sound like you're clipping.
I was about to shout, but I shouldn't do that. So every time I vape too much, I start coughing viciously. It's almost like electric therapy. Like you shouldn't vape, but I wanna.
Okay.
Oh man. So Canada Master Quest number 49. Let's do this.
You ready? I'll take that as a yes.
Let me get one quick sip of something. That's how we talk to each other. Our new secret language. Woo. Sorry, I said a vulgar word there.
What the fuck you say about my mom? Oh.
That's how we just talk for the whole fucking episode.
Okay. One of the lights in my room went off and it's throwing me off because everything is so bright now.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Why don't you take a vape with me, Nick? Don't do it, Nick. No, you have so much rent to live for. You know what this is? This is American landlords that don't care. They have very, very old fire alarms or smoke alarms.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. So how closed is your door right now, Nick?
Pretty closed. Yeah.
I'm so sorry about that shit, man.
No, it's okay. Shit like that happens.
Still,
Every time I see Eric, I apologize now.
That's like losing a leg to me.
Well, I mean, now I just stand in the kitchen and I just open up the window because I don't want to go out because it's hot, and I just blow out the fucking window in the kitchen.
Oh my gosh. I still like the idea of the bathroom where it's like upstairs, like, does it smell like donuts? Are they cooking donuts on there? Because the ventilation just pushes it through or some shit.
All right.
I feel like you would have to take your favorite vape rig and have a camera, or sorry, not a camera, a candle. That way, if they knock, you just immediately light it, and you're like, yeah, we're just lighting candles in here. Sorry about that. Oh, anyways, yeah, all right.
I'm gonna T-pose to get ready.
Can you force
Ladies
it?
and gentlemen, fuck. Now I have to psych myself up all over again, Tyler.
YMCA.
You did the C before the M, I think.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Young Cucks Master Association.
Young Casual Master Association.
Okay, sure. Yes, I'll work with you. Oh, I thought that's how you could have started. Hello, Vietnam!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode. We're back of Casual Master Quest. It's not we're back Casual Master Quest, but welcome back to another episode of Casual Master Quest. We're finally back for an actual episode. This is episode 49. I'm your host for the episode. I'm Nick, and I'm joined
Yeah, you are, baby.
by my co-host, partner, and friend, Tyler Vidito. Hi, Tyler.
Hey, holy smokes, did you just say my whole name, man?
Yes, I did.
Just said, this might be your my alter ego, Hulk Hogan. Hello there, brother.
Hey, brother, how's it going?
I'm doing good. Let me rip my shirt. No, this is a good shirt. Never mind.
So we're back after like a 2-week break. We had one Casual Master Quest side quest come out regarding the board game that I made last semester, and then we were gonna put out a D&D episode, but some of the audio got scuffed. Is that right, Tyler?
Yes and no and maybe and so. It's sitting in my Audacity right now. It's like, should I make this happen? Probably. Can I make this happen? Absolutely. Is this going to detract from the time I spend on a certain RuneScape game? Yes. So it's really hard to weigh the decisions. I do have it though. I want to work on it because, hot dang, do I want to listen to it and enjoy the times that we had? Because you played D&D for the first time, Nick.
I played D&D for the first time, and it was a good time. Like, I was a little lost at the beginning, but then I think I warmed up to it and fell into my own my character role that I designed. That was supposed to come out, but then apart from Tyler's addiction to RuneScape 3, Tyler was on vacation. He was going to be on vacation. So I guess we both kind of defaulted to just doing nothing or whatever we did, which we're going to talk about because Tyler visited me, in case that wasn't clear.
Yeah, fuck yeah, man. 2,000 miles, 1,600 kilometers for
Thank you.
Is that right? Am I right there?
I have no idea.
I think that's right. Or no, it's... I think what's going on, it's 2,000 kilometers is 1,600 miles. I got it mixed up. I tried, Nick. I tried for the metric system. The only thing I remember is 4.11 meters is a no-no for trucks.
4.11 meters is a no-no for trucks, and you'll take your top right off.
Yes,
especially for the kind of truck you drive.
13 feet 6 inches is good for me, but 13.5 is bad. But when you see 4.3 meters, it's like, what the fuck is going on? If you're American and you're in Canada world, holy smokes, I went to Canada, dude.
You came to Canada. How was your first experience in Canada?
Oh man, I came to Canada. I came in Canada. Man, there's so many different ways to do that. Also, both true. Oh man, your internet was great, Nick, by the way. Thank
Oh,
you.
thank you. Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you for complimenting the money I spend on having good internet.
Also, you have a great toilet. They're only plugged once.
Which I will also take as a compliment. I think that's maybe the second time it's plugged now with our heavy usage. So I'm like, it holds
I
up.
mean, I am like the benchmark challenge to decide if your toilet has the appropriate amount of plumbing to it. And also, you had two buttons. You had like I'm just taking a piss button, and like, whoa, Nelly, watch out. Here comes the full monster right here. I'm going to use half a roll of toilet paper too. Better, pull out all the stuffs.
Yeah, well, it is a newer house. I think it was built in 2017, 2016.
Nice. I just discovered my house is over 100 years old.
That's a long time for a house.
I know. We had to do a consensus. Oh, I think that's what you call it.
Mhm.
Where it's basically the Czech population and all that stuff usually, but they'll ask things like about your house and whatnot. And yeah, my house is over a century. I am standing in history. Well,
And shitting in it.
I'm actually sitting and also shitting. Yes, sitting and shitting. My two favorite things to do.
Usually together, likely together, sometimes not always.
Sometimes I get acrobatic, man. I hover a little bit for a nice medium task. But if I can put one leg on top of the shower rod and just aim just right, it's so satisfying, man. Plus, you get your stretches in for the day.
Yeah, and sometimes you just have to practice your aim outside of video games.
Ah, man, my aim is terrible. But on the plus side, with all the practice I've done, I can tell you without any doubt, I am wonderful with the shotgun.
Nice. So, Canada. Segue right into Canada.
Yeah, speaking of while shitting positions, we went to a Korean restaurant the first fucking night I came there.
Well, funnily enough, I just never, because it doesn't bother me. But I think the distinction here, which is quite common in Vancouver, it is a Japanese restaurant run by Koreans, which you'll find in like more budget sushi places. It'll be a mostly Japanese menu run by Koreans with a few Korean items.
Now, this brings an interesting question for me because we have a very popular local Chinese buffet restaurant that is called the Great Wall. Now, the big question is, how likely is it that they're mostly Chinese, despite it saying Chinese food?
Quite likely. That distinction I found really only over here. So my knowledge or exposure to it is very limited. But you will have Koreans mostly running either Japanese or Korean restaurants, and Chinese usually do either dim sum places or fast food places or buffets. So it's highly likely they're mostly Chinese.
Okay, that's fair. I'm just curious. What you say, you always say it's okay to ask questions if it's based off of ignorance and you want to know more.
Well, if you want to know more. Like, I mean, to realistically speak about that very briefly, I think far too many people ask questions without any malicious intent, and they might come off as offensive questions, or maybe they're trying to be rude, but people just don't know. And so I think people just shit on other people asking a question way too quickly without wondering what's the intent behind that question.
Exactly. It's kind of like over at the Great Wall Buffet. Why is there a super lack of wild or feral cats in the area? I don't understand. It's very confusing, Nick.
All right, so we had some Japanese food run by Koreans, made by Koreans, and we also had some bubble tea, which you've discovered for the first time, I believe.
Very first time, yes. Nick had to explain to me here that pearls are the little bubble things that you think of when it's in tapioca pudding.
Yeah. So they're made out of tapioca. Bubble tea, I think, is the more westernized name. Otherwise, it's usually known as boba. Otherwise, so it's just really any kinds of tea: green tea, herbal tea, milk teas, sometimes slushies, smoothies, with tapioca pearls and a bunch of other toppings that most bubble tea places would have.
I just had a big brain moment here, Nick.
Yeah.
A type of cheese is feta.
Yeah.
Boba feta. Bubble cheese. Boba Fett.
Never speak of this ever again.
So I'm sick. I can't make the wildest correlations, but I feel like I just unlocked like a hidden memory. Like this is the 14th memory of Breath of the Wild where he discovers that a Star Wars character was linked to a tapioca and a type of cheese.
How was your first time with bubble tea, Tyler?
Oh, I thought I was gonna say with Boba Fett. Well, you know, there's a lot of good Star Wars games I got to watch with him and Django. With bubble tea, man, milk tea with bubbles in it. It was a very weird experience because you handed me a sealed cup because they seal it right there in the spot to keep the freshness in, just in case you wanted to take it somewhere. And then you handed me what I can only describe as a American-sized straw. Now, not like your McDonald's, sticking to the cup straw. You handed me a, whoa, mama, if I use this on my screwdriver mix, I'm going to get drunk hella fast.
Yeah, right.
This
It was
is
like
a big ass straw.
Big straw. Yeah. Like thick as in it had a large diameter.
Yes. And the concept that you drink milk tea and while you're drinking it, these little tapioca poppers, whatever you want to call them, come up through the straw and you get to chew on them like a temporary form of delicious bubble gum, if you want to call it like that. It was such an amazing idea. Being able to eat and drink at the same time. It's like they never discovered that before, milkshake slushies, but it was bubbles. It was nice. I hate bubbles, Nick.
Yeah, you did.
I used to do that in kindergarten, but the teachers told me stop. That's way too much dishwashing fluid that you're not supposed to drink. And now I'm able to legitimately eat bubbles now.
Yeah, and not die in the process. Yes.
I mean, dishwasher fluid isn't that bad. I mean, nowadays you got maybe a Tide Pod bubble or something like that.
Sure. Yeah.
Do you think you can make bubbles using a Tide Pod solution with water?
I think so. I think it just dissolves right in the water.
It's interesting here because there was a timeline divergence right there to where you could have said moving on, or you're like, I'm going to humor this motherfucker. And the timeline just split. You just went to humor. Thank you. You denied me the first few times with moving on, with shitting and eating cats, but you humored the bubble question. Thank you.
Yeah, well, because Tide Pods are more memific or like current generation memes, and so I would do anything to humor memes out of this last year or so.
Absolutely. And speaking of something, technically, no, that would be a spoiler, wouldn't it? Shit. I can't go that far, can I, Nick?
Not really. No, not really. No. Okay, no. Now you're making it worse. Stop, Tyler. So
I was setting up a segue, and then
you've effectively made it worse.
I lowered my foot towards a bouncing Betty, and I was like, that's a bouncing Betty right there. That's a goddamn landmine. I can't step on that. Oh, by the way, guys, we went to see Avengers Endgame. We won't talk about it, but
we're not going to be talking about it whatsoever. So the first night Tyler arrived, we got some food. We got some Japanese Korean food. Got some bubble tea. Went to the house, rested up, and then the next day we went out, and I got us tickets for Endgame. None of us had been spoiled at that point, so it was a successful outing. But I got us tickets to a VIP section of the theater, and there are these really nice big ass. Yes.
Let's preface this whole thing saying we're not going to talk about the actual movie itself or any details thereof. Maybe if we liked it or whatnot, and the movie theater. That way, people don't panic, hit the pause button.
Oh yeah, no, we're not gonna talk about the story whatsoever. We're just talking about the experience around us watching Endgame. Not even our emotions around Endgame or how we felt about it, but just
horny.
Just the theater, and then just really what we did that day. And so yeah, there's the VIP section for this theater that's close by. It has these really nice, cushy seats, really nice, comfortable seats. They have in theater dining, so you can sit down, and before the movie starts you can place an order. We got there a little bit too late. Why is that, Tyler?
A multitude of reasons. I think one of our members got high as shit, the other one got drunk as shit and pulled pork. Also, are we saying we got there late because we needed to get headache medicine beforehand, Nick? Because you're a drug-free addict and I'm the one that likes to take ibuprofen for a headache?
Oh no, I completely forgot about that until you just mentioned it. So really,
Oh man,
now
are you trying to
I'm
trigger
gonna
a
talk it up to
terrible?
that.
Play the Breath of the Wild. I'm remembering a memory thing.
So the VIP section has a bar like lounge thing where you can go in, sit down, have a few drinks, order something to eat. I don't know if we ordered food there. We didn't order food there. We ordered food inside the theater. Well, we were busy drinking our beers and we got there right in time for in-seat ordering to end, but there were people standing outside taking our orders for like any last minute orders. So we were able to place an order for, I think we all got some pulled pork nachos. Eugene, my roommate, got some beers, and so we were all just having a good time for the most part.
Oh yeah. Also, pulled pork nachos. Wonderful. Trying to eat them in the darkness while keeping your eyes glued to the screen. One of the hardest things I had to do in a very long time.
Oh yeah, no, it's a fucking mess, and I love it because I'm very much like, in India we eat with our hands for the most part, and so for me it was very comfortable. But like I do the thing where I want to get right at the start more nachos than pulled pork, and then have more pulled pork at the end and less nachos, so that there's a more there's a higher meat to nacho ratio.
Thank you. I totally respect that. Meanwhile, it felt like playing the world's worst game of defusing a bomb. So at that point, I just wanted to open my jaws and just bite into it without touching with my fingers, because it was just, I had somebody who I never talked to in my life or saw in my life, and never again, to my left. And then I believe I had Eugene to my right.
Yep.
And I was very self-conscious about having this giant ass plate of nachos while everybody's trying to watch Endgame. And eating that thing was scary as shit. But I got through it. We got through the movie. Had a good time.
Yeah, no, it was a good way to, I think, to start off the week, and we did a bunch of things. Mostly, I think there was an equal, a good ratio of like doing nothing and doing things. For me, I like to play the host, and so my concern was not whether I wanted people to be comfortable. I wanted you to have a good time, but also it's your first time in Canada, and I'd done that tour guide thing before, and so you actually had to slow me down once. Like, can we just do nothing? I'm like, all right, yeah, cool, my bad. Like, I just wanted to show you around.
Well, to put it in perspective, Nick, I would say during my free time, and this is my personal choice, 80 of the 90% of the time I like to spend it inside my house.
Right.
Because I am doing so much traveling and sitting around and whatnot that free time to me means to just sit down in my own, safe haven and just relax.
Right.
And so when I went to Canada, I absolutely wanted to explore. I wanted to do a lot of shit. Like, for example, try to find checks. Nick, also, fuck you for finding checks after I left. Ladies and gentlemen, Canada has a huge issue right now, and that is the fact that they have little to none of checks or checks mix. And that was absolutely a no-go.
If that's our biggest issue, then I'm glad to be in Canada.
Okay. I would like to say the biggest issue so far is the price of your gas. That is a...
Well, it's even worse in Ontario. Yeah, no, it's even worse in Ontario, yeah.
Also, just as bad. I did the translation and I realized I told you like $6 or something like that. But that was also in Canada dollars, so it's more around like $5 and change. So like,
yeah, which is why I love filling up right before I cross the border back into Canada if I'd go down to visit my cousin.
Holy shit, I can't blame you. Like after all the conversions, all that stuff, you were paying like $5.20 a gallon. Which, that is the highest I've ever seen it in my life right now. Was a couple of summers ago, and it was like $4.20, and people were like ready to murder over that. So the fact that you were paying under normal circumstances $1 above that was just horrible, dude.
Well, for me, it's not so bad for me, and like I dislike it, but also my car doesn't take a lot. It really doesn't. So like I drove a lot when you were here, and so after you left, I think I've only filled up once since. And that was a week ago now, almost a week ago.
Mm,
right?
mm.
So in general, like it, except for that week, or when I'm doing things or people are here, I really don't drive that much, and I don't have to fill up my tank that often. And it's also considerably cheaper when I do because I have a small car. So I can't imagine what it's like for somebody who has a truck or a much bigger car, or like a fancy car, like a muscle car that takes up all this gas.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, you have to be filthy rich. That traveling is a luxury unless you have a very gas conscious car. There,
Yeah.
it was crazy. Whew. After that, Nick, we went to a little island, which is not really an island, but they called it an island.
Yeah, and I
Had a
couldn't tell you why. It's called Granville Island. It's right south of downtown Vancouver. It is a beautiful place.
hipster haven.
Pretty much. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot more to it than that term, but it is a special haven away in full view of Vancouver that has a lot of culture and stuff that people like myself would love.
Yeah,
And
because
you.
yeah, there used to be an art school there, right? So that's
Oh,
part
that
of
does not
why.
help my claim at all then.
Yeah, no, that's part of why it is very much hipster haven, but it is a beautiful place. There's a public market, there's a bunch of artisanal shops, there's a bunch of restaurants. Most of the restaurants are very high end, but there is a food court in the public market that is quite affordable. Um, I love the public market more than anything of that place. Even if I don't buy anything, just walking around, seeing hundreds of fruit, vegetable, cheese, donuts, sandwich stalls, dessert places, teas, coffees, international foods. It's I just love walking around there.
Nick, if you took me through that market while I have not eaten that day, I would be broke. I would be broke and locked down in a bathroom 30 minutes later.
Yeah, yeah, no, that place it can be overwhelming if you're not used to crowds like that. But then it breaks away, and there's a little place where you can go out and sit on the just by the water, where they have the I think the sea bus or the aqua taxi, where you can take it across from Granville Island into downtown Vancouver. Um,
Hmm.
and we sat down there, and there was a busker, a guy. I can't remember his name. I think you can, if you do. I have his card somewhere. Um,
Absolutely not. I can't remember his name. I remember his first name was interesting to me because it was I feel like it was a noun or a verb, maybe in Spanish, but it just, no, I can't remember, Nick.
yeah,
It's heartbreaking.
I do have his business card somewhere, but there was a busker performing. He was playing off his album, and it was nice. We were out. The weather was good. It was a little sunny, not too hot. And then there was a man playing, his guitar, singing quite beautifully, and it was just a good day.
He had a very nice dulcet tones, and he was singing very South American centric type music, and it was such a cultural, I wouldn't say a shock, just it was so alluring to the point that I looked at Nick and it's like, I want to sit down and listen to this guy. And we got right in front of him on this bench, and I just sat there like I fell in love with this man, Nick. Not love, but
No, no, I know.
passionate. Oh my gosh, get the Trojan. No, it was, he had such good music. He had put a lot of soul into it, and I wanted to give him all the Canadian money that I had, which was a loonie that you gave me
Yep.
to tell me to keep. I never got a loonie back, Nick. I didn't get to bring one back. It was so sad. But that guy deserved it. He deserved every single penny. Plus, we got some sake there.
Oh yeah, we. Oh yeah, I forgot about the sock. I still have an open mind.
Oh man, I'm glad for you because I drank that. I think within the first night. I know, maybe second night. Second night, I think.
Yeah, it's like I find new things in Granville Island every time. I don't go there often just because it is a little bit of a trek for me to get to it. But I find new things all the time, and we stopped by. I think one of the first things we saw was this artisanal BC sake brewery,
Hmm.
um, and they make all the sakes that they offer right there in that store, and they have a few selections that is made using BC rice. So I thought that was really cool. The one that I picked up was made with BC rice, and it had a very interesting mushroomy aftertaste, but not in like a savory way, in
But
like an earthy
did
way.
I get one that was local?
No, you didn't get one of the local ones.
Damn, I fucked
Not
up.
the at least not the local rice ones, but it was a good kind of like semi-sweet dry one, which is not your thing if I remember correctly, usually.
No, I usually hate dry alcohol with the passion. I need it sweet. I need it as wet as it gets.
Right.
It's just dry just kills me. But the type of sake, I think it's called Nama. Uh it was a very good sake. Not my favorite drink in the world when it comes to alcohol, but given the cultural influence, I was down. I was down the
Yeah.
clown with that sake.
Yeah, which is interesting on this trip, especially because I think um, this is probably the most exposure to like a fusion um, Asian culture that you've experienced. Like all the places that I was suggesting we go eat right off the bat were usually Asian places. That's just because it's the norm here.
Right. And for me, who lives in a town that's 98% white typically, or at least the cultural influence is that bad. Going to Vancouver, where there was a very heavy accent of Asians, it just it boggled me, Nick.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I talked about it, and it's like, holy crap! The like, at first I thought I was going to get like yellow fever and all that stuff, and I know that's terrible to say, but then as I told you later, it's like these are people just doing normal things. This is just diversity happening, and it fucked with me. It didn't scare me. It was just like, holy shit, this gonna work, Nick. Also, I was on the West Coast instead of 2,000 miles away, so I guess it makes more sense that international people were coming abroad, especially the Vancouver of all places.
Right, which is why, I said, if you have any questions, or in general to people who are new to a culture like Vancouver, or at least such a mixed culture like Vancouver, like just ask questions. Maybe find one or two people that you can ask, and then just ask and say, I just want to understand, or I just really want to know why this happens. Which is, so I'm just glad that there was, it makes sense why there was culture shock, and then there was also some learning experience out of all of this.
Absolutely. I came to appreciate it a lot by the end of it. And speaking of drinking culturally, you and your roommate, Mr. Eugene, decided to have me try something called a pepper vodka.
Yeah, no, fuck that. I fucking hate pepper. I don't like vodka. We've had that sitting there forever. And
I
you
believe
took a
it
sip.
was by I took a sip on day one, and by day two, I showed up with tomato juice. I announced, "Give me a liquor you guys know that you will never drink. Give me the worst one you guys don't like. That way I can drink it." And you guys looked at each other like knowingly you're gonna give me some terrible poison. And I'm like, "Oh God, what the hell are they gonna give me?" And he gave me vodka. I'm like, "Okay." And they're like, "But there's pepper in it." And I'm like, "Okay." To me, it's like I got A, vodka, B, pepper. I'm missing component C, tomato juice. And it's like, I see nothing wrong here. And fucking drank that shit like it was candy. And so you said that vodka actually came straight from the motherland?
Yeah, either Russia or Ukraine. Eugene bought it back with him on one of when he went home for the summer. I think it was 2 years ago now. I didn't like it. He didn't like it. I had my own issues with vodka, and also I don't like pepper. It just wasn't his thing. It's not bad alcohol by any means.
No, it was
It's
fucking
very.
fantastic.
Oh no, it's very good quality alcohol. We just didn't like it. So we're just happy that somebody finally did enjoy it.
Oh man. Yeah, that was definitely my calling. Maybe not my favorite drink I had there because over at Granville Island, we actually departed with a couple of drinks. I got to get some local sparkling wine as well as some kind of ale, I believe.
Ah, yes, yes. It was a raspberry ale, I think.
Hmm. Yes, it sounds right, and it tasted pretty damn good, man.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, Vancouver is a hub for microbreweries and craft beer.
Yeah.
So you'll find stuff like that. And I like my weedy, lighter beers, fruity beers, and I really enjoyed that. I really did. You enjoyed it a whole lot more than I did.
Yes. Okay, I get it. We both had a 4-pack, and I might have drank 5 cans. Okay, I'm sorry.
6.
Six. Shit, I goofed. It was good. Okay.
No, I wasn't complaining. I was just like,
Put it on
okay,
my
I guess
tab, okay?
I guess we're out of beer already.
I guess we're out
Um,
of beer because the fucking orc lord over here keeps drinking our fucking shit. He opens our mouth and we just pop the barrel and everything disappears.
so staying on the topic of food and drinks before we get on to some of the other things that we did, one of the things that I had the great pleasure of showing you, and one of the things that you enjoyed was ramen.
Yes. We
Like
went to downtown Vancouver and we got to go to a legit ramen shop.
like proper like actual like Naruto fish cake ramen.
Okay.
Okay,
And
neither of
it's
us got one of those, but we're talking about like actual ramen, not like out of a pack and then you put in a bowl and put
this
the
isn't the
seasoning and then you pour
14
water.
cent beef or spicy chicken that I might have had yesterday ramen.
No, no, this was good ramen. It was a place called Hokkaido Sentoka. I believe they have a
I believe you.
I believe they have restaurants in Japan, and then they opened up this one here. Um, but there are a bunch of awesome ramen places, and that was the balance between portion and price. And how was your experience with ramen for the first time, Tyler?
I'm trying to remember specifically what I had. It was a spicy miso or something like that.
Yeah, so it was a spicy miso broth. I think it was called the kara miso,
Okay.
and you got a combo that came with a side dish of grilled salmon on rice.
Nice. Holy
Yeah,
shit. I forgot about that. That was so
yeah.
good. Oh man, I wish I would have went there again. Oh man, I was addicted to bubble tea almost to the point of senselessness. But fuck, that ramen was so good. It was weird because A, I don't know how to use chopsticks, and B, I told myself I did, and even though I was holding it in the correct or incorrect posture, I was still trying to eat it with chopsticks for a majority of that. I never really considered like the importance of enjoying the broth as well. Like just little simple things like that where, when you think of ramen, you just think like, oh, noodles. And then, maybe with a expanded galaxy brain thought, oh, toppings on noodles. But the broth was so fucking good too, man.
Yep.
Holy shit. Also, I made the mistake of eating the egg right there before putting in the ramen. It's like,
Well, I
oh,
mean,
egg, cool. I wonder what
well, I
this is.
mean, I don't know if it's supposed like it's just one of their side dishes. I just felt like I think it would be good if I put it in the broth and just let it sit there. So it's not like I don't think it's a must do kind of thing.
And I treated it like a pregame breath mint. Great.
Fair enough. But yeah, we got to go to ramen, and there's one more food place that I think uh,
Oh,
we thoroughly enjoyed the experience. I mean, I'm sure Tyler can talk about the price a little bit, and maybe air out some grievances. But I think
I,
the overall positive outweighed
it
to
was
some extent.
100% positive. It was at like 80% until I realized it was my mistake. Also, Nick, you got to understand, I had a Mai Tai during that time, which was their most alcoholic drink, I believe it was called.
That's fair.
So I was a little frustrated because I made a critical error in my what I thought was proper substitution. But yeah, we went to a Kobe steakhouse.
So Kobe Steakhouse here in Vancouver is basically a high class hibachi teppanyaki place, and basically it's one of those places where you sit down at a table like a little thing around a big grill, and the chef will come out and cook all your food right in front of you.
Oh man, Rafi,
Rafi,
Razzie, Rafi.
yeah.
Holy fuck. God bless you, Rafi. Rafi, I know it was just your first time at the grill, but I will sing your name provided I remember it from the top of the highest mountains, which there's a lot around you actually. So maybe not, but the highest mountain I can find within like 50 feet of my house. So maybe on top of the doghouse or something. But holy crap, Rafi, you fucking made my day that day. Holy crap. We I've never been at a hibachi grill before.
Neither have I, and that was a fantastic experience. So basically, how Kobe Steakhouse worked was you pick out one of their set dinners, and the dinner we picked, we got a shrimp appetizer, some vegetables, some scallops, a chicken teriyaki, some steak, and some more vegetables, and then ice cream at the end. and it was me, Eugene, Tyler, and my friend Tanish, who came along with us. And at our table, I think it could fit maybe 3 or 4 more people, but there were 2 other ladies who were also seated at the same table. And I can't remember what they got, but anyways, and then he started cooking, and then he said things, he flambéed things,
I
and
know
he
what
was
they
putting on
got.
a show for us. What did they get?
The answer is who the fuck cares? Because it was us, man. It was all about us. Holy shit, you're right. All the shit he put on there. Look, we got something called like what, the legendary platter or some shit like that.
It was something like that. I can't even remember, but it was fucking fantastic.
Look, when he started putting good stuff in the, he's like, oh, I'm gonna cook this, and he's like, get your camera out, 1, 2, 3, big ass play, holy shit. And I was like, okay, he starts shooting shit at all of us, and I was like, oh man, this is pretty good. I'm I'm not quite full, and he's like, oh, let me get wave 2 of 10. I'm like, oh fuck. And he starts shooting around, and it's like, this is a masterpiece that he gets to do, like a 15-minute work of art, and he is just laying food in front of me, and I'm just appreciating. He's like, oh, you should use this sauce. I'll get you my sauce. And he's just letting all of us go at it, and I'm trying to be nice as shit to him, Nick. That way, Rafi gives me the extras because I was begging for more. He was like, "Oh, as good as I get."
Which I honestly, I wouldn't have even needed extras with how much food there was.
No, there was way too much. Like I was the blueberry girl from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I was like, no more. Okay, some more.
And so all of us, all 4 of us, got the same thing. Except for one thing, which we'll mention now. It's one little thing, but all of us got the same thing. So like I said, shrimp, scallops, vegetables, chicken, more vegetables, and then steak. And that was about, let's say, 90 Canadian dollars. So something like 70-ish US.
Like
which
a $70 plate.
Yeah, so for the experience and the quality of the food, I think it was worth it as an occasional thing. And then
look, I'd do it every day if I had the chance, man. I guess anybody would.
Kobe Steakhouse offers, there can be a few things said about the expense of how expensive food is in Vancouver, and I think just it's the lifestyle itself. But Kobe Steakhouse offers an upgrade option to any of their steaks for any of their dinner sets. You can upgrade to a premium Kobe Wagyu beef steak.
Wagyu beef. So good.
And Tyler, being on vacation, chose to go with that option. He got the smaller of the ones, right?
Can I have a little story time here?
All floor's all yours.
So imagine me, 9th grade, gym class. I was sitting there, I haven't gotten into my swimming team yet, a little chubby. So me and 2 other people. One of them is one of my closest friends, Nick Truex. The other person was named as Joe Takuda. I'm sorry, that's a generic name. I figured nobody's going to be able to find Joe because I can't. So we talk about many things, the 3 of us, during this gym class because we got 10 minutes beforehand. And during one of the times I spent with Mr. Takuda was explaining to me that there was a time when he was with his family in Japan that he got to try this legendary steak. And he was explaining to me that there is a place where they take cows and they give them beer every fucking day. They massage these cows. They make these cows have the best fucking, most tenderized life that they could possibly have. And then they turn them into fucking steaks. And he's like, I got one of those steaks once. It was $100, but it was the best steak I ever had in my life. That was me in 9th grade. Fast forward 10, 15 years later, and I see the fucking name of Wagyu beef at this Kobe Steakhouse in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. Holy shit, Nick. There is a lot of things on my bucket list that I didn't think I was ever going to achieve by going to your local Genji's or any kind of restaurant around here. But I saw that and I realized that my wife was going to hate my account balance because I was going to give anything to try this fucking steak. Nick, I got that fucking steak.
You got that steak while it was small. Because of the portion sizes of everything else, the marbling on that fucking steak looks so good. Holy shit.
I could chisel a fucking statue out of that marble. That's how good it was. I know that doesn't make sense, but humor me.
It makes sense.
Julius Caesar could be seen in that steak with how chiseled that marble was in that fucking steak. It was beautiful. Like I feel like that piece of steak got cut off by fucking Gordon Ramsay himself.
Now the only drawback to all of that was that it added an additional $80 to your bill.
Now, mind you guys, I mentioned before I had something I believe was called the Mai Tai. Very alcoholic. I chugged that bitch within like the first 15 minutes. So I was a little inebriated when we were ordering, and so I saw the legendary platter. We're gonna call it that for 88 Canadian dollars, and then Wagyu beef for an additional $88. I was like, okay, I kind of want the Wagyu beef, but everybody else is getting the legendary platter. And then I believe you, Nick, you're like, you can just substitute it in. So I was like, okay. And so she calculates it up after I ask her the price, and it's like $156. I'm like, the fuck? Are you giving me both of them together? Are you going to give me double, everything that comes with the Wagyu beef and all that shit? And I didn't correct her or anything. I was like, okay, I guess I'm just getting a shit ton of food. I didn't realize that the Wagyu beef was $88 for 4 ounces by itself at the time. It freaked me the fuck out how expensive the steak was.
Right. Yeah. Which is why I said you can say that there are some things to be said about how expensive food can get in Vancouver, but that was one of the most fun experiences I think of the trip, of you visiting that dinner. That was phenomenal.
Nick, that was the most expensive dinner I've had in my life. Like my honeymoon dinner was, I think, $40 at the most.
Right.
Like this dinner that I had, it was like, I think total up with tip and everything was 200 Canadian, which so around 160, 180 American. And so I have had food budgets for 2-3 weeks that was lower than that one meal I had that night. Holy fucking shit. Was that the guy was going to tell me, oh, it's going to taste like butter in your mouth and stuff like that. It's like, I don't want it to taste like butter. I want it to taste like, Julius Caesar's chin in my mouth. I want to taste that marble. And it was good. Was it life-changing? Maybe. I enjoyed it. I can now say I had Wagyu beef and it was fucking good. Will I ever get it again? Fuck no. That you are buying bragging rights as well as the food. If I could buy the Wagyu steak without bragging rights for like maybe $40, probably, but I was happy with it. Never fucking again.
Never again. No. And so we're sort of wrapping up, or at least we're in the second half, the last half of like the major details from Tyler's Canada trip. We'll get to like some of the road stuff that we did. But I wanted to talk about us watching something at night. We found a TV show, an anime specifically to watch, and it was quite bizarre. It is quite bizarre.
Oh, Nick, you're so funny. But
I am very funny. I'm hilarious.
What an adventure we're gonna have talking about this. Oh man, I'm gonna have a Joe Jolly good time. Is there any other jokes you want to drop in the ground, Nick?
It's our adventure. We started watching that just as we just chilling, hanging out, drinking whatever, and we were just like, let's find something to watch. And we found that. We just decided to pick it.
You see, my arm gets heavy holding this imaginary gun to Nick's head to play more Breath of the Wild. And so I decided, or we decided that it'd be better if we can just watch something together. We decided anime. And I was hoping to find something like Bo 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 Bo. Have you ever heard of that?
I have. It's fucking nutty.
Yes. And so I was like, well, what's something similar to that? And I remember people telling me JoJo Bizarre's Adventure is a bit weird. You probably won't understand. I was like, yeah, I'm having a drink. Maybe I'll open my mind. So we watched it. I still have no fucking idea what's going on, man.
I need to know what's gonna happen. Like I can't. Like they just stand in such ridiculous manner. I love it.
trying to explain JoJo Bizarre's Adventure, for anybody who's watched it, they understand. Trying to explain it is pure madness. It is literally an adventure that is bizarre by a person named JoJo, who in the beginning, at the very least, is trying to seek the end of his adopted brother, if you want to call him that, Dio. Which... what the fuck is going... Like, Dragon Ball Z doesn't turn this wild sometimes.
I mean,
Like,
well, Dragon Ball Z is pretty straightforward. Like,
yeah, it's straightforward. You get stronger, there's a new form and whatnot. Here, though, it's like, here's new powers you never knew you had, but you're going to acquire them in 72 hours. And we didn't even get to the stances, dude. Like, no. I was starting to question. I was like, wait, I thought there were stances and whatnot. JoJo looks really weird in this. Am I looking at the wrong end? Nope, it's there. Just probably gotta wait like 2 more episodes, and then I feel like by episode 15 or something like that, we're gonna have like JoJo versus Dio in a Yu-Gi-Oh card battle or something like that.
The crossover you didn't know you needed.
You activated my trap card. It was me, Dio.
So yeah, those are the kinds of things we got up to while Tyler was here. And the one thing that we did, which I think was probably the most relaxing part of it all, was we went in the same day. We went to the aquarium and we went on a mini road trip.
Yes.
I love the Vancouver Aquarium specifically. It is always a good time just walking around all the different exhibits, and just taking it all in. They have one of my favorite sea creatures of all times. Sea otters.
Okay, I was going to say, are you holding me in suspense? Because I already know. Are you trying to hold them in suspense? Because they don't know either way. Plus, I have a little something called truncate silence, Nick. It's going to cut out any excess silence. So just you saying... one of my favorite creatures, sea otters. It's like, okay, yeah. No. If you want me to, I can look for it 51 minutes into the show and make sure that keep that 2 seconds of added suspense. I'm sorry. Sea otters, go ahead.
I love sea otters. They're fucking cute and they roll around and then they hold each other. Yeah, sea otters are massive. It's like freshwater otters that are the smaller ones, but sea otters get pretty big. I think they got up to 3-4 feet. They're so fluffy and they're cute and they hold hands while they're sleeping so that they don't drift away from each other, and then they play with things and they're swimming around.
I found my spirit animal. They're called sea lions, apparently.
The sea lions are pretty dope too. The important thing for me, I think, about the Vancouver Aquarium is that a lot of their bigger creatures are either rescues or in rehab, and they'll release them back out if they feel like they're healthy enough to survive in the wild. So I was telling you, they used to have a beluga whale, and they used to have many more. They used to have more porpoises as well, which are like cousins to dolphins. But they must have been released since I last visited.
We did see either, I don't know if it was a porpoise or a dolphin, but we did get to see a dolphin that was missing a fin, it looked like.
Yeah, so that's the one mainstay porpoise. I can't remember her name. But then they do a show with her every, I think, a few times a day, where they talk about porpoises, why they're different from dolphins, and then they talk about that one specifically and what they're kind of doing in their efforts since they've been open.
And it had a good old fun time with some kind of pool toy. I was actually impressed with, you know, it was cool. Just to touch back on them fucking sea lions. They're loud. They were, I don't know if they were just angry, if they're being territorial with each other, or if they just wanted the guffaw, but yeah, one just kept sticking, well, both of them kept sticking out its head out of the water, you know, Orton.
Yeah.
My dumbass decided to Ort back. And that motherfucker heard me. And so in front of us, you know, got a section of water, but then right next to us, there was a rock-based platform that they can hop on. And that motherfucker hopped on the rock and started losing his shit with us. And I was like, okay, nope, sorry. I pulled my fingers away from the rail kind of stuff. Like, no, I'm not fucking around with this. I want to keep them where they are. I need my max XP rates for RuneScape.
Right,
I cannot afford having a territory battle with this rock with a sea lion.
Yeah, so we saw some sea lions. We saw, I think they only had the one or two seals on this visit. They had a new, there was a little walkthrough kind of terrarium kind of thing, and they had butterflies this time. And Tyler got to see just how terrified I am of insects.
Yeah,
It took
butterflies
every
though. Even
I anything that's bigger than a fly or a mosquito or an ant and is flying near me, I can't like it. I just can't.
it's amazing because a lot of those things you just described are probably one of the biggest things you should be afraid of compared to these bigger insects like a mosquito. I mean, mosquitoes can carry
Oh
a
yeah,
lot of
but
shit.
like I spent many a summer in India. Like I'm used to mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are commonplace for me.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, no, it's just I can't. I don't know what it is. I can't deal with it. And it took everything in my willpower to not freak out constantly while we were there because I wanted to look at the fucking monkeys, and the monkeys were cute as shit.
So, Nick, if you were to, for example, ever to visit us and we were to go to the Detroit Zoo, they have a like a terrarium that is meant for birds and butterflies. There's a
All right.
butterfly sanctuary. Would you go into the butterfly sanctuary?
Um, See, I would because I know, and most of these other ones are also fairly harmless. But like like I might consider a butterfly more than any other kind of bug. And I would at least try to. But it'd be very hard for me to keep my cool.
We can understand you and I right now that butterflies to humans are completely harmless unless you open your mouth and one kamikaze right into your throat, right?
Yes,
And even then, I don't think it would kill you. It would just make
yes,
you sick at most,
yes,
and you're still afraid of them.
100%.
Huh. I mean, I did watch you like lock eyes with a demon from hell last night in a stream. That was your common house spider, I'm guessing.
No, this one was a little smaller. It didn't have long legs and
Oh,
it was red.
it was. Oh wow, Jesus.
Yeah, so it
Okay, no, if it was red, fuck that shit. That is a
was like
Zelda boss that
brown.
needed
It
to be
was brown
destroyed.
or red, and I'm like, I'm not taking any fucking chances.
I don't know what the fuck you guys have over in British Columbia, but like
We
my
don't
big
have any
fear.
black widows or recluses. I know that much.
Well, good for fucking you. I know you guys got a bunch of orb weavers. That's for fucking sure, though.
Yeah.
Oh man, like I'm not a big, I'm not terrified of web spiders typically because if they're in their web and I don't go near the web, nothing to worry about. And most of the
Agreed.
time, they're not the kind to like to come down and try to land on you because they're not fucking stupid. They got their trap. They're waiting for their food. There they go. Hunter type spiders, on the other hand, scared the fucking shit out of me, like wolf spiders. That shit I can't have because those are the kind that like to travel around your house versus just having a web. They will look for food versus waiting for food to come to them. And I know I'm not on the fucking menu, but by God, if they try to think, like, oh, maybe could that fat motherfucker be an appetizer? The day that happens, I'm burning shit, man. I'm burning shit. I keep a lighter on me for a reason.
I think that's fair. Um, but moving on from bugs, aquariums, spiders. That same day, so morning was the aquarium, and then that same day we drove up into the mountains. We drove up, I think it was something like 80, 90 miles. Here I'm doing the thing for you too.
Uh,
Uh,
134 kilometers.
sure. Okay, that's exactly what we did, which is 83 miles.
What? I was trying to be nice to you too.
I know how far I
We,
drove.
we were holding hands, the bullshit and the metric system hand in hand.
We drove up. There's a highway here called the Sea to Sky Highway that goes starts close to like downtown North Vancouver, and then goes up into the mountains into Whistler, a little ski resort town kind of place. And we really just took that route just to take in the views because you literally drive through the mountains, up and down winding roads. You get to see some snow-capped mountains even this time of the year. We drove up there, had some lunch, and then drove back down. How was that trip for you, Tyler? I think that was your first time being surrounded by mountains to that extent.
In a car, yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
I've
Yeah.
traveled through mountains, all this stuff in the trucks, but like taking a personal voyage to where I get to explore a not rural, rural, rural.
Rural, yeah.
Okay. Did you just do that?
What?
Something's fucking with me, and I don't know what it was. I just heard a horror sting, Nick. Like, something on my computer just played, and it just freaked me. It's kind of like when you play Minecraft and it just hits you with an audio file. I have no idea where the fuck it just came from.
Okay, yeah, no, I don't fuck with people. No, that's not me. I'm not a prankster.
You promised me, because now I'm
no,
like,
I didn't do.
am I gonna fucking horror?
I just went. It might have been a vibration from my. No, I didn't get an email. No, it wasn't me.
Okay, cool. Audio hallucinations. That's part of a cold, right? Oh boy. Anyways, wait. What happens if I say that word again? Rural.
Rural.
Or maybe. Oh, it might have just been a car passing by. Anyways, because you said it again, and I heard the fucking noise, and then I just hear. Okay, so when I made the noise originally, okay, it makes sense. A fucking car passed by.
We're safe again, people. We're okay.
I'm not crazy. I'm just a little. Well, I know. Sometimes you can't tell. Anyways, going through the mountains, and Nick's. I'm not gonna call it a tiny as shit little.
It's a tiny as shit little car.
I'm gonna call it a gas efficient vehicle. Even though I just pretty much named it down to the detail. It was a beautiful sight. The moment we got past the Lions Gate Bridge, I would say after about 5 miles, okay, it is legit a car passing by. Wow. Have I maybe there's a gas leak in here. The sea to sky corridor was probably one of the most beautiful natural sights I've ever been able to see in my entire life. I've seen mountains, I've seen valleys, I've seen oceans now, I've seen the Great Lakes, and obviously we got our man-made structures, but seeing the ocean on one side and a mountain range on the other, and we were just traveling along the side of it, was probably a very magical moment. It was one of those things where I originally tried playing RuneScape on the mobile, but it was one of those things where it's just, you got to put it down. And I got to enjoy that for about an hour and a half. It was an amazing ride. I was a little confused, but I also understood that this is weird for me, because in Vancouver, the highest speed I saw you were able to legally go was 65 miles an hour to me, which an interstate speed for us nowadays is about 75, which is a lot faster. Now, Nick here needs to plead the whatever the Canadian equivalent of the Fifth Amendment is, but he likes to go fast. He would not fuck around going around these mountains. He would not do anything beyond the recommended posted speed limit.
Yeah, no, on a flat road, when I can see everything around me properly, there's no blind spots, I'll push it a little bit. But on a road like that, where it curves so much and it goes up and down, I'm not fucking with that. No, I have passenger and my own life. I'm not fucking around with that on a mountain road. No.
And it was just weird doing 45, 55 miles an hour around, going through the mountains for an hour and a half. And it was just a thrilling experience. We went beyond the point where 80% of Canadians don't live there anymore. Like, I love this fact where 80% of Canadians live within 100 kilometers of the Canadian-U.S. border. Once we hit past
like 60 miles or something, and then beyond that, it's like...
It might as well be the Yukon at that point. They just,
pretty much
stretched in early or some shit. But yeah, by the time we got out there, traveling got pretty scarce. There was still plenty of cars and traffic, especially since that was like the only main highway out there. But we saw some fucking nature, man, and the way the mountains developed in that region was fucking great, man.
Yeah, no, I love it. I'm more of a mountain person than a beach or a sea person, and I that was the first time I was making that drive too myself, at least that far. We made that drive, and it wasn't me driving. Then it was my dad when I first got to Vancouver, and before classes started, we were being touristy, and so we did go up to Whistler, and this was the first time I drove that far on my own, and it is a fantastic drive.
I was impressed. I was surprised you wouldn't let me drive.
Um, why is that? Surprise for you in what way?
Well, actually, let's get this out of the way, Nick.
Yeah.
You wouldn't let me drive once.
No, because insurance is fucked here, and I can't take the off chance. Not that you're a bad driver, but if anything were to happen, I'd rather my insurance go up by my hand. So even if you were to get into an accident, and this is the same thing with all my friends. So unless it was an emergency, I don't let anybody drive my car. If you got into an accident while you were driving my car, it would still reflect on me because the car is registered to me, and I'm already paying 4,200 a year for insurance.
Okay, fair.
That's the only reason.
I know. I would have killed the drive. Maybe next time I can just lease a car for a couple of days. That way I can just enjoy driving around myself because, fuck, man. I want to go more north and more east next time I go there.
Well, I mean, for you, it shouldn't be an issue because you're above 25. You're a professional driver, so rental rates shouldn't be that
now
bad for
you fucking recognize it, sir.
Yeah, no, like I get shafted on if I even think about renting a car in the States, I get shafted hard. It's about 150, 160 for me for one day for a small little hatchback.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Little Volkswagen Beetle.
Pretty much, yeah. No, it's bad for anybody under 25 to want to rent. Yeah.
Okay, fair. It's just I do remember mentioning professional driver, and it was either you or Gene who were like, for trucks though, right? It's like,
It was probably Eugene because that doesn't sound like me, and that sounds like you. And you got a very, very good introduction to Eugene as a person.
Yeah, I love you, Eugene. You fucking sukablat.
Hey, Eugene. Yeah, no. Eugene's a good friend.
He taught me some interesting Russian words, as you probably.
Yeah. But that was a trip for the most part. We did go out one night and get completely plastered, and that was a whirlwind of a night. I don't want to go into too much detail about it, just because there's some things that we shouldn't put everything out there. But it was.
I totally understand.
Yeah.
I got drunk publicly for the first time, and I'm pretty sure I won't be doing it again for a very long time due to the worst case scenario in my head actually happening. Besides going to jail. I did not go to jail, thankfully, but we had some crazy shit happen.
Fortunately, nobody got hurt. Everybody got home safe.
You fucked up your elbow pretty good, man.
My elbow still hurts, but
he decided to go down 2 flights of stairs and try to elbow drop the floor, and he got the move down, but goddamn, that gotta hurt.
Yeah, no, it didn't do any damage to the stairs, but what are you gonna do? So sometimes you just have to go for it and try.
Yeah, the stairs no-selled it. It was impressive, man.
But Eugene took care of us that night. Everybody got home safe. Nobody was, except for me, nobody was injured. Nobody had anything stolen. It was just one hell of a night, and I'd like to think that we're closer for it now.
That is one way of viewing it. That is definitely one way of viewing it. I understand a little bit more of for better and for worse.
Yeah.
For example, you shared me your stolen, your little secret on your dog tag. That
don't know what you're talking about.
The ultimate discussion of your name.
And it's a secret man. Take to your grave.
Little Richie Warrior 11. Fuck you. Exactly I just said it. Fuck you. I just said it. Okay.
Pikachu meme.
The Pikachu meme. Okay.
Any last things about your trip overall, Tyler?
Yeah. Fuck planes. Fuck planes with a goddamn passion.
Not for the same reason as you or the same ferocity, but I agree. Fuck planes.
Fuck planes. Now, more fuck my personal morbid obesity as well, but there's a couple of problems I had with some of these planes. They're meant to fit as many people as possible in the plane. That's understandable. They want to make the most money. I understand that. I respect that. Companies like getting money. However, they're meant for people who are like ready for the Olympics thin. Okay, maybe even okay. People who are going to the Olympics usually aren't thin; they're pretty muscular. So maybe that's not a great example. Thinner than myself, though. I got
Yeah.
my mother's childbirthing hips. They're pretty wide hips. It doesn't help. I'm also fat. We also came to terms with that. So putting me in a seat that is 4 inches close, like they had fucking handles on each side, and those handles are 4 inches closer than what my hips would prefer to be, caused me to fucking bruise my hips and hurt like a motherfucker for 4 hours. And shit like that just drove me batshit crazy. But anytime somebody goes on the plane, they usually got something to complain, baby crying and all that stuff. The nice thing is it gets you to your destination faster. And what's 4 hours of misery that saves you 26 hours to driving in the car? So what the fuck ever.
Yeah, it's all bullshit. Fuck planes.
Fuck planes. Thank you.
Yeah. I am just curious about this. I didn't ask, I forgot to ask. When was the last time you were on a plane before this trip?
The last time I was a plane, last time I was a plane, I was a Boeing 737, and I was beautiful, man. I was fucking beautiful. The way it took off in the sky. Some people think I couldn't. Just a dream. Anyways, the last time I went on an airplane, sorry, I was just imagining a giant Boeing 737 with my head on it, just taking off and going into the sunset. Oh, so. Anyways, trying to get back a second time to the answering your question. Last time I was on an airplane was probably sometime in 2011.
Okay.
So it's been 8 years.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Since I've gone on an airplane. And yeah. That experience wasn't that bad. Especially considering I within the same month I was on a bus at one point. And buses here are vicious, regardless of whether or not you're fat or not, because they will pack you as tight as you can. Planes do it too, but at least there's some possibility of comfort. But it made me appreciate it back then. But nowadays, no, I'm spoiled. I think next time, like, I may have to consider getting upgrades to shit, which is unfortunate, but you pay more money to feel comfortable for a flight for 4 hours. That's what I'm going to go for.
Yeah, and I can understand the discomfort of airplanes to a certain extent, purely because every year I do travel at least twice, 14-hour on one plane, on the same plane. It's a 14-hour trip.
Jesus
And
Christ.
I get restless. It's not about the noise. It's not about I just get very restless, and being in that one spot for so long, I can't. Which is why I didn't go home this past winter. Like I really wanted to, but I didn't want to deal with traveling, because it just takes so much out of you sometimes. Especially like going, like you experienced it with 3 hours. Now imagine if you're not used to it and you have to deal with it.
3 hours when, Nick? The delay? My plane is 4.5. Don't discredit my fucking flight.
Okay, I'm not talking about the travel time. I'm talking about the time zone change. The travel time too, but the time zone change is 3 hours. Dealing with.
I'm sorry. I take back what I said. You gave it full
with
credit.
12 hours.
I'll check my crediting privileges.
But anyways, we are a video game podcast, and while we did want to, yes, Tyler.
I still got some shit to say about these fucking planes.
By all means, Mr. Vidito, the floor is yours. Please enlighten us.
Look, fuck pressurization. I know we need it. Otherwise, I'll start bleeding out of the eyeballs and all that shit. But even while chewing gum, when I got to Vancouver, it was so bad that I got a migraine for all the pressure that was put on my fucking head. It's understandable. It's natural. It's part of the process. Fuck that shit. On my way back, though, I don't know what the fuck happened, Nick, but it got really, really fucking bad.
Yeah, especially if you're not used to it. Not unfortunately, I've traveled far enough where a lot of this doesn't get to me anymore. But it can get bad if you're not used to it.
Like basically what happened was, for those who probably pieced it together, I got sick as soon as I came back, and mostly in the nose and the throat. And when it comes to the nose and whatnot, when it affects the sinuses, there's I don't know what the actual term is called. I think it's like a eustachian tube, which
Right.
is a section that connects your nose to your ear. So when my ears hurt like 2-3 days after touching down from an air flight, and every time you blow a nose, you're putting pressure on your ears. It's just fucking miserable.
Yeah. And also, it doesn't help that airplanes are very, very much unhygienic. For the most part, the air is not. It's recirculated, and it is a breeding ground. And so, whenever I do travel, either to back home to Dubai or to India, I'm always prepared to get sick. Not from the pressurization in this case, but just because of what I would have been exposed to and the stress from traveling that long. I'm like, all right, so sometime halfway through this trip, I'm gonna fall sick for a few days, and it's a guarantee.
There's one thing I'd want to give a blessing though, and that is I did get sick at the very, very, very back end of the vacation, which is as soon as I got hit with that on Monday, I'm like, fuck it, I'll take it now. Go ahead and hit me with it.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, didn't need to piss or shit on the airplane. That's all I could ever ask for. I was afraid that I was going to get jet bloat and all that stuff I was telling you about. We ate some weird shit both when I got there and then on my way back. It was all good, man. Thank God.
Good. I'm glad. So we good with the plane rant now?
So we're a video game podcast, are we?
We are a video game podcast, and we just wanted to. This was our great adventure. This is Casual Master Quest Great Adventure.
Yeah, we went on a fucking master quest. Holy shit.
We did. And so
casually too.
The video game talk is going to be light this week, as expected, or as you could probably figure out. But we are going to talk about now. Tyler, what have you played these past 2 weeks? I know you've played at least one game.
So my wife was hoping that by going to Canada, I would cut down a little bit on my RuneScape playing.
I'm a fucking enabler.
Nick's a fucking enabler. Nick's roommate, Eugene, is a fucking enabler. You see, I do have RuneScape on my phone. That is true. But the amount I can play on it is limited at best. I can't really, I can try it, but there's only so much you can do on the phone for, your battery dies and all that stuff. And so what does Nick and his roommate do? But give me the fucking TV in the living room and a goddamn desktop to hook up to it to play RuneScape in my free time on a vacation that took me across the fucking country, out of the country, 3 time zones away, to a location my wife hoped I was going to stop playing RuneScape. And what the fuck did I do? I played fucking more RuneScape.
To be fair, you carried it on by playing on your phone. And also we provided the desktop for a completely different reason. You just happen to propagate your RuneScape addiction. But we are fucking enablers.
Shit. This reminded me of the fucking GIF image I saw where it shows a dog barking at a human and the human was barking back, and it's the guy, like, it shows subtitles and it's like, why did he shoot on the fucking floor? And the dog's like, the cat was the one that shit on the floor. And the guy's like, we don't have a cat. The dog just kind of turns at the camera and goes, fuck. It's just, that's me. I played RuneScape. I played way too much RuneScape, Nick.
Yeah.
So to tally everything up, for those who are well aware, I'm playing RuneScape. I'm trying to get the max skill cape where you get a 99 in every skill. Since we last talked, I believe I got 4 skills up to 99, which includes agility, mining, invention, and now dungeoneering.
Nice.
Which was a hard one for me, but thankfully there is a way to where you can cheese it by playing with friends, or if you don't have friends, you can pay people. So I paid people, and okay. Do you think I'm kidding? I fucking paid people.
I know
they fucking carried me. Hey, it's all legit in-game gold. They got a process for it, and Some people recognize that you need the skill in order to get some requirements, and people hate dungeoneering. And there's a group of people that get very specific joy of helping you out. You can also do it for free, but you're on a lower waiting list. I got money I can burn, gold. So only 50 million gold, which sounds like a lot. It's not, thankfully. And
you had something like 500-600 million.
Yeah, I was at 500 million after a bunch of cool shit came my way after winning the fucking lottery and all that stuff. Yeah. And so I'm down to like 450 right now, and goddamn, I got, how many did I say? I got 4 skills left. I got to get to 99.
Yeah, 4. Yeah, 4.
And just to touch up a little bit on RuneScape, I got excited because one of those skills is Hunter. And Jagex, the developer, or the owners of RuneScape, it's like, hey, coming up this July, we're gonna create a new way to play Hunter. It's gonna be refreshing and fun. And I'm like, okay, cool, fuck it, yeah, I'll save that for last. And then I did research, Nick, and I realized, oh, I fucked up.
What happened here?
The reason why they're changing the way we level Hunter is because with the introducing a spell that I have, you can get extravagant amounts of experience for leveling up the skill extremely fast to 99 and beyond. And so they're trying to fix that so you can have fun, but at a much lower rate of experience.
Right.
And so I'm like, I don't give a shit about fun. I just want the 99. So now I have till July to get that skill to 99. So I'll have it done by tomorrow, probably, knowing me. You know how I am, man. It's fucking Song of Seren.
Here I was thinking, oh, you're making it sound bad. Shit. Oh, they're patching it? When is it coming? Is it coming on Monday? How much time do you have? And you're like, fucking July?
Yeah, I got a month and a half before they, fix it to make it more fun. And there's like little things like I gotta do like challenges and stuff just to get into the prime position for it. But it's gonna take 2-3 days at the most just to enter that spot, and then I'm just gonna go fucking wild for probably one day and get 99 that same fucking day. So
right.
I just gotta make sure they do it before they patch it. Let the fucking noobs have fun. Daddy just wants his cape, okay? Daddy just wants his cape so he can be just like his father-in-law. One day, Dad, I'll be just like you. Oh,
right.
Also,
so RuneScape 3.
I'm gonna say also I played Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
As it turns out, watching Nick play a certain game that he hasn't talked about yet made me want to play a certain game. So coincidentally, I just chose instead to play Breath of the Wild for a little bit. And that game is fun to play, even after you did almost everything. Not everything like Korok Seeds or anything, but the 120 shrines, doing all the DLC and stuff. It's just fucking fun to explore. But I'll talk about that later, as you will, or as will you. And I think the big game I really would like to give some shout outs to is Katana Zero. We talked about getting it last week. Nick's given that shit face.
I love Katana Zero. I played maybe like 15 minutes, 30 minutes of it, but I love it.
And like I remember mentioning it to Nick, saying, hey, you should probably try Katana Zero. It's a fucking great game. And you're like, I got 3 other games, kid. Let daddy have his drugs. I'll try it later. Go play outside. And then since I was right in front of him, I had him fucking try Katana Zero. And then, I played it too, and it's a fucking great ass game. What was the developer or the publisher? Devolver, I believe it was called.
Devolver Digital is the publisher, yeah.
And holy shit, that is a game, Nick. Everybody that has heard about it has played it, and they're enjoying the shit out of it. I have people recommending it to me, even though I already have it, and I totally respect that. It's like, man, it's a fucking good ass game. And for those who don't know, Katana Zero is, what would you call it? A roguelike, I guess.
No, Katana Zero would not be a roguelike, because a roguelike would entail that you have, like, you crawl a dungeon, you have items, spell, whatever, like, you upgrade as you go. Katana Zero, you have a fixed set of abilities, and it's around navigating each stage, so it's more of a platformer action.
Okay. For those who have no idea what Katana Zero looks like, imagine a a hi-fi 8-bit era or a 16-bit era. Like it has the retro feel to it, but the animation, all that stuff is obviously like way fucking out there,
Yeah.
man. And you're essentially a katana wielding motherfucker who can slow down time and all that stuff. And your goal is to get through each floor, chopping up and blowing past people, and you got to do it all without getting hit once, and do it in one go to continue. Otherwise, you got to start and do the whole floor. And later on, it gets harder and harder. Nick did not get to see the kind times where I had to fucking grit my teeth, because there was a couple of good moments like, God damn, this is fucking hard. But once you get through, it's so rewarding. But more importantly, I think I'm okay with the combat. It's the fucking story that gets me like crazy hard. Nick, I feel like the combat is more your thing, but the story plot is what has me like by the teeth.
Yeah, no, I like the story seems it's interesting. It's not bad by any means, but for me, it really is the combat and the style of the game. Um, and and I'm gonna talk about this later on, but no, carry on about Katana Zero.
And so the story plot is if I'm trying to deduce the very beginning properly, and they give it to you like very slowly, bit by piece. Essentially, you're somebody who came back from a war. You're seeking therapy, and also you're a hitman for some fucking reason. Right. And they don't explain how that works or why that works, but by God, they are having you run around and beating up people that the government seems to hate. Yeah, you're technically working for the government or some kind of shady equivalent side office to the government. And in the meanwhile, you're being called and known as the Dragon. And you are fucking up a lot of wild shit, taking out the right people, supposedly. And then there is a group of people that is part of the underworld that seems to really like you, because even though you're killing their dudes, you're being so fucking badass about it.
Yeah.
And then the plot thickens and all that shit. You're not sure if you're on the right side. You don't know who you should trust. Who's the bad guy? Are you the bad guy? And all that stuff. And that's as far as I got. And it's gotten very good. And I the time mechanic about it is so fucking critical. I fucking love it. I love the idea of getting information, dying by the story plot, and then using that information to avoid dying. Yeah. Like, I love it so much. There's a spot in Resident Evil 7 where if you skip some of the stuff accidentally, there's Resident Evil 7 spoilers. There's a time where you're dealing with Lucas and you're stuck in a death room, if you want to call it that, where you got to complete a puzzle or you die. And if you follow exactly how he does it, you'll eventually get a code. And then after you get that and you finish the room, you die. But the reason why you die is because in order to get the code, you have to do something that fucks you up. And so if you just put the code in before you do the fucked up thing, you live. And it creates a paradox. It's like, what the fuck? How? Okay. What you're not supposed to know that code, but okay. Katana Zero does that. It is fucking awesome.
No, it is a fantastic game. The pace at which you can play, pace at which you can go through each level is insane, and you can pretty much go about it at your own pace. If there is a timer for each section, and you learn more as you go on, because if you get hit once, you die and you restart from the beginning with your timer resets, and eventually you get into a very nice flow that you just know what's about to happen at each particular moment. It's like there's that movie where that lady dies, I think Death Day or Happy Death Day or something, where she keeps dying and while she's trying to figure out who her killer is.
Yes. Yep. I believe it's Death Day. There's a similar movie like Groundhog's Day or something like that, where
or
it's just,
Edge of Tomorrow, where you just keep going.
It's a trope. Yeah, we you guys know what we're talking about.
Yeah,
where
but this game does it in a fucking fantastic way.
Played it on the Switch. Just want to make it very clear that it was on the Switch. I don't know what else it's on. Maybe it's only on the Switch. I don't know.
Switch. It's Switch, PC, and Mac OS.
Okay, so you can get it on Steam if you want to, but playing it on the Switch was optimal. And if it was anything like me, like for example, Battle Chef Brigade, I loved it on the PC, but I kept getting burnt out. But I played it and beat it like instantly on Switch in one go. So highly recommend getting it for the Switch.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I'm about to start my playthrough of Katana Zero as well.
Awesome. But Nick,
Yes.
my metaphorical gun did not go unnoticed during my trip with you. You played a lot of a certain game that I maybe coerced you into playing more of. I don't know. It's
Tyler, you don't give me enough credit. I had to like sink into the game on my own. You couldn't force me into it. And I eventually did it. Now I can't stop playing it. And so
I
fuck you.
I just feel like you lacked the initiative to enjoy your Switch.
There was
Nick.
no in it. It was okay. I see what you did there, but it's not. I have to like fall into a game on my own. Otherwise, it's never gonna happen. That's why it took me so long to finally play through The Witcher 3. Even though I had it for a while, I just didn't bother until something clicked, and it just sucked me in.
And what clicked was me Spartan kicking you into Breath of the Wild.
Well, I mean, I was already pretty far ahead. No, actually, I wasn't. I think I got all the beasts. I did quite a lot while you were here.
How many beasts did you end up doing when you were with me? I think just
I think only the one. Yeah,
Yeah,
only
you,
the one.
you only had the one from Va Rudania or something like that. Whatever the
sure,
lizard
the
one.
fire one. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. So before I talk about Breath of the Wild, after you left, I could finally play with my friend. Not that was a bad thing. It was nice to disconnect.
By myself because this fucking asshole kept lording over on the air mattress and playing fucking RuneScape on my couch.
I played a little bit of Deceit with my friends. On the last.
I was pretending I was you. I was not calling you that.
Tried some Katana Zero, but Breath of the Wild was the main game that I played while Tyler was here. Breath of the Wild. I can't stop playing it. I really can't. All I want, like, I've been actively now, and even more so, it's more apparent now, looking for games that aren't shooters. Like, really, like, I want to play a few. I want to, like, I'm just tired of it to some extent because there's just so much disappointment. Nothing feels as good as Destiny, but Bungie's fucking up. And I just want to find more games that make me enjoy gaming again. And so Breath of the Wild is definitely one of those games.
You know what you remind me of, Nick?
Yeah.
You remind me of Thanos. After he snaps the fucking fingers, he is like, you done it all, you seen it all, you did what you had to, you fucking just went top notch all the way to the fucking end, and now you just want to fucking farm.
Yeah, pretty much. No, dude, I can't. I've been trying to organize, but I haven't found the time yet to just get onto like a world with my friends and just farm on Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I want to fucking do because it's just like, you're just chilling. You're just sitting there and you're planting some seeds, you're watering your plants, you're going fishing, you're going mining. Breath of the Wild is essentially the same minus the fishing and planting seeds. I enjoy that game thoroughly. I am right now. I'm shrine hunting, completing quests, and just doing it all, and just kind of hanging around. I'm enjoying fighting Lynels now.
Are you actually enjoying it? Because I know you're having some troubles before, but you're able to do it.
Oh yeah, no, I'm enjoying fighting Lynels now. I faced a new kind of Lynel in the with a new weapon with the Crusher. And
the big maul thing.
Yeah, and I hadn't fought against that before, so there are instances where they're gonna do like a heavy slam attack on the ground, and I managed to dodge it in time, and so I get the flurry rush, but then the impact from the ground causes damage and knocks me away. Right, and that
those crushers are the strongest weapons in the game, so it was gonna fucking mess you up.
Yeah, and I was just thrown off a little bit by that. I think that was the first time I struggled with the Lynel fight in a long time, or at least it's the first time I fought a Lynel. Because he went through two of my shields like they were nothing. Like all it took was one blow from the Lynel each time, and they went through my shields, and I was like, all right, I guess I'll go fuck myself then. I had to
bend over, assume the position.
I had to have Mipha's Grace and a fairy save me from the Lynel.
Oh goddamn, Nick! Now it sounds like you need maybe find a golden Lynel. Step it up.
I'm not jumping into master mode. I refuse to jump. No,
it's fun.
I refuse. I hated Dark Souls for a reason.
Fun.
But beyond Breath of the Wild, I could go on about how amazing the kind of like world they've built and how they've visualized. Like I was doing a little bit of research as well. Like I was reading about Lynels last night and how this is the first time they were represented in 3D. And the kind of like way and Lynels are are terrifying to look at. Like
Yes,
they
they are.
really are. They like, honest to God, they're like scary creatures. But they're these also like amazing, respectful, like kind of like opponents that you can find out in the wild while you're just going through the game.
I mean, I wouldn't say as much as honor, but in terms of any creature that serves under Ganon or is an enemy in Breath of the Wild, they are probably the most honor bound, if you want to call it that. Like goblins and all that stuff, they're just murder machines. They just want to kill you and all this stuff, and they're enjoying it. But fucking Lynels, they won't immediately attack you if they see you. They are challenging you and waiting for you to draw your sword and all that shit. And they have no problem going, head on and arm to arm combat and all that shit. And that kind of style is cool. Lynels appeared originally in the very beginning with Legend of Zelda, and they're just annoying as shit, hard damage and all that stuff. And I know them best in Link to the Past. They appear at the top of the mountains, and they hurt like a motherfucker. And Nick, you say they're the first 3D, but technically, they appear 3D in Link Between Worlds for the 3DS.
Oh, okay, well,
but like this is the first time where we got to fight them in the 3D, if you want to call it that.
yeah.
Technically, you can call it 2.5 as well if you want to argue for Link Between Worlds. I'll humor you here, but yeah, that is Lynels in Breath of the Wild is probably the most unique fighting system that we ever experienced as a Zelda player. I can't think of anything else where there is a more unique battle mechanic when it comes to fighting monsters.
Right. No, Breath of the Wild is one hell of a game. And then the last thing I will mention is I seem to have some kind of stupidly good luck with that game.
Fuck you, Nick.
So
Can't put that as the title of the show, but I'm putting it right here. Fuck you, Nick.
So the brief amount of time that Tyler spent playing Breath of the Wild, he was looking for one of the best horses in the game. A horse that is the descendant of Princess Zelda's horse, or like the legend, the royal horse. And he spent quite a while just resetting areas, sleeping, and just waiting and looking for it. I'm just out here fucking hunting memories or shrines I can't remember, and then I teleport to a shrine and I fly down to a place and it's just chilling over there.
Yeah, we were flying down. I'm looking. I'm like, the fuck is that over there? And we're both looking at. I'm like, is that a white horse? That better not be that fucking horse. And you get closer, and sure as shit, it's the goddamn royal white horse descendant. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And then last night, Nick is streaming, and he's just la-di-da-ding around and say, ooh, what's this? Pulls the chat out. It's the fucking bridle from the DLC pack that I've also been looking for that allows you to instantly summon your horse, I believe. And it's like, okay, motherfucker. First off, what the hell is this shit? I believe you found something else too, just by dumb luck or something like that. I'm not sure if it was the travel medallion you told me you just found randomly, or if it was like a third thing.
Yeah, no, it was the traveler medallion I found randomly, and I didn't even like start the quest for it. I just found it, and I was like, oh, okay, because it was one of the labyrinths, and I went to the bottom level. And then there was a chest sitting out there. I got that chest, fought some guardians, and then I turned on my magnesis to scan for other chests. And I see one sitting in the back wall, and I'm like, oh, there's a chest. I went towards it, and it was the travel medallion. I'm like, okay then.
Okay then. That is your fucking thought. You gotta appreciate the shit that's given to you, Nick. What the fuck?
Interesting thing I learned though. Speed run records for Breath of the Wild. I think it's like 37 minutes for any percentage completion just to like beat the game.
Yeah.
There was another this one that took an hour, but I can't remember what the condition for that was. And then 100% completion was 27 hours.
Jesus Christ. What constitutes 100% though?
Shrines. Yeah, shrines, Korok seeds, and
Jesus.
guardians. Quests don't count towards completion, so it's only shrines, Korok seeds, and guardians because there are
Thank
900 Korok seeds, and that's I think 78% or something.
Okay. Yeah. This was before you ever got into it, but there was actually a huge debate when they started introducing amiibos to the system. For example, the not to the system. When people started realizing that they can use amiibos in Breath of the Wild to give themselves shit like armors and food and stuff, the original Ocarina of Time Link, the Super Smash Brothers one, will give you Epona,
Right.
and people are debating whether or not that should be allowed. Because if you start a game, you can start your game, give yourself the fastest horse, and then just immediately take off straight for the thing. The big question is, do you personally think that speedruns should allow the use of amiibos or something like that?
As far as I know, speedruns the rules change constantly, and so if I think that would be okay. So if for a particular set of speedruns, people decided that these are the kind of rules we're going to go with, and it's okay to use this, I see no problem with it. But if it's against the rules, then there's a problem.
I mean, rules are just, especially for speedruns, rules are just stuff that we set for ourselves based on what we think is right.
Well,
So, I
yeah,
mean,
no. Well, with the official speedrunning competitions, the rules change every big competition, and so if somebody breaks those rules accordingly, then they should be punished and shouldn't be allowed. But if they decide one year, or like let's see what would happen, use Epona.
okay, fair,
Yeah.
fair enough.
There is one more game that we need to talk about briefly. Tyler, do you want to take it away?
Sure. So, Nick, the reason why I got the desktop computer originally in Canada is because I believe it was we wanted to play Overwatch or something
Yeah.
to that effect. Something. We have no fucking idea, but we had it there, and I immediately turned it into my RuneScape machine. Nick suggested to us that we should try World of Warcraft, which
Yeah.
has a terrible stigma. The world should have saw my face when he suggested that. I just kind of stared forward, and I started seeing like the horrors of me like losing out in college and all that stuff as he said
The
that.
actual PTSD from the Battle of Azeroth. You remember putting his life down to protect Stormwind.
You are not wrong. Like, holy shit. And then I was like, it's all fucking over. You're not addicted to WoW anymore. It's RuneScape. Don't you worry. You won't fall into the shit. And so, yeah, Saturday night last weekend, Nick, my wife, and I teamed up, and Nick played World of Warcraft, which I believe was for the first time. Again, first time for everything, D&D and World of Warcraft.
Yeah, yeah.
And Nick, what did you end up playing as?
I think I was just a human mage.
I think, yeah, a mage. And, I never actually got any final thoughts because you have so far never mentioned the idea of possibly playing that ever fucking again.
Well, my issue with World of Warcraft was always not the fact that it was an MMO, but the art style. Like, it always threw me off, honestly. And at this point, there's so much that I have to do to actually get into the full swing of things. B, I have to pay a separate subscription. It's not even like you buy the game, you own it. And it's not like it wasn't bad whatsoever. My experience wasn't bad. It was just your standards. You started off the few hours that we played, so you're just your standard MMO.
Right.
Quest, getting started, getting set up, like learning the systems. I ended up going with like an arcane specialization. And so the one spell that I had, as I do damage, I would build up arcane charges up to 4, which would which would reduce the cast time for that spell and also increase the damage. And then I had a second spell that would use up all my arcane charges to do one big massive damage.
So it kind of the way you described it made it sound like you're working a Gatling gun spell that ended with a bazooka blast or something like that.
Yeah, and I enjoyed that. I thought that was pretty cool. But again, I think the issue with games like World of Warcraft or any like long running MMO is the amount of initial investment to really get pulled in.
True.
So
Like,
yeah, I have no like final thoughts on the game itself, just because it would take so long. I think when we briefly talked about it, you agreed it would take a really long time before I'm like enthused about like running raids, dungeons, and doing all these things.
I've made so many max characters and all that stuff, and even like raids and dungeons don't interest me. I mean, I'm in the same thing like that on Destiny. So, I like shooting shit and I like doing the dailies and stuff. I had no actual interest in the raids. But you're fucking, you want to, go balls in. You want to, kill the big shit, which I can't blame you. I understand that. And I believe I told you that it wouldn't be until you got to like level 58 when you're able to do the first expansion to where you get to leave the old shit that was, from 2004, and you actually get to see, some maybe not modernization of the World of Warcraft, but you get to explore a plane. You get a story where you understand what the fuck is going on.
Right.
Because the original World of Warcraft, you just get plopped down. You have no, shit's going on around you, but you're just doing quests. You're doing, simple shit. As soon as you hit 58, oh shit, there's a whole new world that's in trouble. We need to go in there. We're gonna do shit to save it, that kind of stuff, and it goes from there. Like, it gives you purpose. But up till 58, it's like being in the fucking lollipop guild, and you're just murdering shit and doing like, oh, you want me to collect 8 tusks of this pig? Sure, yeah, sure, okay, yeah, you got it. You also didn't get to do a dungeon, which
No.
I think a dungeon would give you a motivation. You're like, oh
Right.
man, I want to fucking kill this shit. But unfortunately, since you're on the trial account, you were locked at level 15 or level 20, which you'll be able to do like the very first dungeons, but you would have to make a $15 jump to see whether or not you'd actually like it or not.
Yeah, and that's just something I'm not interested. That's for me in my current position. That's a lot of money. But yeah, no, that's World of Warcraft. Not for me, most likely. But I have respect for the people who've stuck around through all the, and I can relate to that. I have respect for people who've stuck around with the game company through all the thicks and thins of a particular game.
Well, Nick, just so you know, the wife and I were still playing it, so if you just need a little bump to keep it going, you let me know. I got your fix, Nick.
Moving on.
I'm an enabler too, motherfucker.
As mentioned earlier, it is a video game podcast, and we have to get to at least one topic for this week.
We're just talking about World of Warcraft. That's a video game, I think.
So the topic for the show this week is PlayStation's State of Play. This is what they opted for instead of showing up at E3, and I think they might have a different event later this year. But Tyler, do you want to summarize what happened with their State of Play?
Yes, they just announced 6 or 7 different games or updates and whatnot going on. I believe they started off with a good heavy hitter for Monster Hunter World, which might be up your alley.
I think it's called Iceborne, and it comes out like in August for consoles and like November for PC or something like that.
Something along the lines. I got to see the new monsters that they're trying to introduce, and it sounded like anybody who's into that shit is gonna really love it.
I just have to pick up the game again. Like Monster Hunter is nice because you can just go back at any time, and there's so much you can do on your own. And I just like exploring immersive environments, and Breath of the Wild gives me that opportunity.
Ooh. They did a very, I would say, lackluster trailer for something called Predator Hunting Grounds, which is going to be a Friday the 13th Dead by Daylight kind of style game. It looks like,
right,
where it's a bunch of soldiers against Predator, and it didn't show anything, to be honest. But they're announcing and revealing that it's coming out for the PlayStation 4. They do have a new model of PlayStation 4 coming out to celebrate the Days of Play event, which it looked okay. It wasn't like super exciting for me because it's not a PlayStation Pro. So, I mean, it's not a chance for me to upgrade. It didn't look like. So, details.
Right.
The HD update for Medieval looks like it's going to get a very nice outlook coming out on October 25th. They showed a trailer for it. It looks pretty snazzy. Have you ever messed with that game when it came out originally?
No, I've not actually even heard of the game.
It has a video arcade feel to it, where you're just running around and mashing monsters up and all that stuff, but it's very nostalgic for people when it came out. I feel like I played it on the PlayStation 1 for some reason, but I'm not too sure on that. Like, I know I didn't beat it, that's for sure.
Well, it is a remake. Medieval only came out for the PS1, and so this is basically a remake and coming out for the PS4.
A game that came out specifically that I got kind of excited for was it's called Away. It's coming out for the PlayStation 4 and PC, and I don't remember what the creature you were specifically. It looked kind of like a flying squirrel or something like that.
Right.
Where you're trying to play a natural survival game essentially, and it looked fucking great. Like I was a sucker for games like Flower and all that stuff, where it's all natural environment and stuff, and you're just controlling how the flow of things. And so a game like this gives me a good vibe to where you're a little flying squirrel running around the jungle and all that stuff, and you're trying to be with your family, but you got natural predators, you have man-made predators, or disasters and stuff, and you got fires and whatnot. And I think it could leave a good emotional impact without having to tell a human-made story, so to speak.
Right.
I mean, it's literally made by humans, but the reenactment as such, I think, would be very nice. And another one, a 4-player co-op game, is called River Bond, and this feels like something I would be able to get my wife to sit down and play. Did you get a chance to look at this one, Nick?
Yeah, it says it'll have a bunch of characters from like Shovel Knight, Bastion, and stuff. So it sounds like one of those. Like there was I believe it was a Ratchet and Clank game that it was like a 4-player co-op, and you get a bunch of characters from different universes, or like similar kind of games. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, basically, you have all the 4 people on the ground. The closest thing I could think of for everybody that understand, it feels like a Legos game, where you got 4 people on the ground, you're just running around through areas and stuff and beating the shit out of people, and it looked nice. It had a good quality to it, and it had a friendly feel. Bunch of iconic characters that people recognize, and I think it's something to look forward to when it comes out this summer. But there was one last thing.
Yes.
There was one fucking last thing. And people either flung their arms in the air in excitement, or they immediately went to Twitter to start complaining about a certain thing.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about.
I've seen the things, yeah.
So at the very end of this video, they announced more details about Final Fantasy VII Remake. By details, I mean they say that they're going to tell us more later this year. Here's some cinematic gameplay, to where they say very blatantly at the bottom, the actual gameplay. So it's like they're just reminding us, hey, Kingdom Hearts 3 is over. We're still here working on it.
So that was the Final Fantasy VII with, I believe, I can't remember what the name of the characters were, but the guy was Cloud. I can't remember the name of the Tifa was her name.
You got the main character Cloud. The flower lady name is Aerith or Eris, depending on the English translation. I think it's going to be excuse me. Oh man, let me drink something else. 1 second.
So this is the awkward silence where I can't talk about Final Fantasy because I've never played a Final Fantasy game. So I'm just waiting for Tyler to clear his throat. And
okay, I'm sorry. Jeez, it's just being sick. I just can't talk as much as I used to. You got Cloud as the main character. You got Aerith. I used, when it came out for the US, they made a translation error and it came out as Eris, Aeris.
Okay.
But everywhere else it came out as Aerith. And so I think they're going to keep it as Aerith, even though us Americans know her as Eris, and it's going to freak us out. I wonder, well, technically we were able to rename each of the characters when it came out in the game, so I wonder if they're going to keep it generic to where we can change it there if we wanted to. But the other characters that got notable was part of Avalanche, which was a group that Cloud is in, and the leader of that is the notorious character known as Barret, who, mind you, this game was made in the mid to late 90s and is a stereotypical badass African American.
Right.
Or I guess technically he is part of Midgard, which is a fantasy world, so he's African Midgardian. I don't know. How would that work, Nick? I don't fucking know.
Sure. Okay.
Oh boy, that's a fucking term right there, African Midgardian. And then at the very end, they some reason just out of the blue just tease you with Sephiroth, and yeah, it was a lot of it showed a relapse of what it would look like in HD at the very beginning of the game. Part of the very first bombing mission, one of the boss fights, which is the very first one, bomb exploding, and some reason Sephiroth is there, even though he wasn't in the original game at that early, but whatever.
Right.
And people, saw it, they loved it, they posted their praises and all that on Twitter and all that. But then media decided to get up in arms, which then got actual people that they said were up in arms. And people started getting upset because the voice actor for Barrett sounds too stereotypically black, I guess.
Okay.
I know, right? It's weird because in the original PlayStation game, it was all worded to text. And the way that Barrett talked was really raunchy. And it was exactly how you would expect him to sound like in the game. Unfortunately, since this is getting a modern day release, we are on a further scrutiny. And to add to that, everybody totally forgot that he talks. And actually, I don't even know if he talks in Final Fantasy Advent Children, which is a movie where he makes a small appearance in. But yeah, apparently people don't like the way he talks. And is whether or not it stinks, because people need to understand that it might be stereotypical if he was African American, but he's African Midgardian, people.
Fuck out of
here. It's a cultural dialect, okay?
But I mean, I'm sure we could have like a civil conversation, or maybe a rational conversation around why that might what's really going on. But I think the internet's doing what the internet does and just blowing things out of proportion and just being upset. So after things died down, again, I have no attachment to the Final Fantasy series, so I haven't actually seen the teaser trailer. But I just think that people are being silly.
It stinks because since I'm white as fucking bleach in the sun, I feel like that my opinion on this is either biased or just going to be devalued immediately. Whether or not it should or shouldn't is up to the average social justice warrior that listens to me. But at the same time, it just feels like I've heard a lot of white characters get such cartoony treatment, and I think nothing of it besides maybe they're a little bit weird. And I'm not sure if the same can be applied for every other race that ever gets represented in a fantasy-like game. But I just feel like if we're going to do anything, we should be making a big deal about the Midgardians, man. I think there's a lot of things that
you're just gonna beat this fucking horse till it's in the ground. Through brute force, you're gonna beat this dead horse into the ground. You wouldn't even need to dig a grave. Like, you're just gonna brute force pummel it into the ground.
I'm turning him purely into fertilizer, straight to the source. But yeah,
I had one question about the states of play.
Absolutely.
We covered one that came out there. I think their first one that came out in March, maybe
March or April. Yeah.
But how have you felt about Sony taking this like Nintendo Direct kind of approach to delivering their news?
The only problem with it is it feels like they don't have as much bullets in the chamber to be firing off as Nintendo does. Nintendo, whether or not they actually have the content like the fluff up the shit, whether or not, like, for example, it feels like a Nintendo Direct will have 5 heavy hitters ready to land down the punches, but then they'll soften it up with like 10, 15 other like subtle things in the background. Whereas here, Sony announces in the very beginning, oh, we don't have too much to show you, but we're going to show you. It's like, okay, fair. That's your current state of play, huh? Don't have too much, but here's close enough, right?
Okay,
but
well,
I like it. I feel like maybe they should be able to prepare some more information. Maybe not game announcements, but just give us more details about when we'll hear more about PlayStation 5 and all that stuff. Obviously, they're gonna just say we'll be talking more about the PlayStation 5 at E3, something like that. It just
well, we know they're not going to be, but
that's also true.
Yeah.
Tell us how Last of Us is going. Also, the fact that usually when we get a Nintendo Direct, we get a Nintendo official.
Yeah.
We did not get that in this case. It didn't seem.
Okay.
it'd be nice to see a friendly face that we can attach to. Like, I don't know. I was about to bring back a fictional character from Sony's press representation. Oh man, that guy's a beautiful thing.
But anyways, that was our topic for the show. Sony giving us a few details about games that are coming up, but really not much more than that. And now we're going to go into upcoming game releases, and I'll go through this list just because we are reaching the end, and Tyler's voice is.
Yeah, I'm dying.
Yeah,
I'm doing my best over here, but I'm dying, man.
All
It's
right, so
a
coming
Hulk
up,
Hogan reference.
coming up starting May 14th, we've got A Plague Tale, Innocence, coming out on PS4, Xbox One, and the PC. I know nothing about this game, and I will tell you about the next game while I look up this game. Citus Alpha, coming out on the Switch, also on May 14th. Now, these are two games I've never heard of.
Don't worry, me neither. So we are totally in cahoots. Citrus Alpha, I'm guessing, is a Steam to Switch release. And A Plague Tale Innocence, I have no idea.
It's an action-adventure game developed by Asobo Studio, coming out May 14th, and that's really all we know. We've got our big hit for this list, I think, our heavy hitter for this list, Rage 2, coming out on May 14th for the PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Who's the people? Bethesda. Bethesda have been putting out a lot of information, a lot of promotion regarding this game, and a tiny bit of controversy that I'm sure you could go and find out for yourself. Basically, Paul Tassi, one of the, I can't remember who he writes for, but he is a video game journalist, wrote an article saying you probably haven't heard of Rage 2 and you're probably not excited. But then in the article, he goes on to list why he's actually excited for the game. But in general, just talking about how nobody really was expecting Rage 2. And then Bethesda or Rage 2 replied to that tweet. He's like, who are you? Basically being rude, and they didn't even read the article and they were being standoffish.
Fuck, man.
For no fucking reason. And so, and I think his response was like, that was unnecessary, but I'm probably still going to buy your game anyways. Or something along the sorts. And I'm like, would you want to read the stuff before you post a snarky comment?
This is some weird version, like this unorthodox paradox world of fucking consumerism communication, I guess. Just the way people interact with each other. It's like fucking Ronald McDonald slapping me in the face and like, oh, why would you do that? He's like, because you talked bad about me. It's like, I'm here ordering your food. I said it was okay. You slapped me with the burger. I'll probably still eat it.
But moving on from Rage 2, we've got Redout, which is coming to the Switch on May 14th as well. Redout is a futuristic racing game, so I think it's just a direct to port from Steam to... Actually, no. This came out on all consoles, PS4, Xbox One, Steam, and on the Mac OS in 2016, and it's a Switch port.
Fair enough.
Then May 16th, we've got Bubsy Paws of Fire coming out for the PS4, Switch, and PC.
Have you ever messed with a Bubsy game before?
Nope.
Bubsy was probably, and I don't want to be rude to the brand, but it's true. Bubsy, I guess you would be the failed attempt to become a iconic character. Or back in like Super Nintendo days, everybody heard of Bubsy before, but it kind of fell into the same line as Earthworm Jim and all that stuff, to where it just kind of fell flat in the long ride just because of the lack of content and quality, I guess you could say. And Bubsy is trying to do what Shantae did, essentially. Have you heard of Shantae?
No.
Shantae, Half Genie Hero, I believe, was the latest game that came out. Okay. Shantae is another, similar boat, but it broke past its cult classic group. People love Shantae, but Shantae was always way behind with the releases on the consoles. And Bubsy, or the people who are making Bubsy, rather, are trying to just essentially cash in, like, hey, Bubsy's relevant again, right, guys?
Right.
Hey, yo. And so...
No, carry on, Tyler.
I would say the developer choice provisions, the accolade, they got their hands on the rights and all that stuff, and they're trying hard, but people already like looked at the demo and just saying that it's trash. So I'm hoping they made a lot of improvement on it if it's coming out for Switch. Is
Well,
Switch? Yes.
it
Switch
says
PC and
PS4, Switch,
PS4.
PC, but news just broke like yesterday, 2 days ago. Switch port got delayed, and it's coming out later in the summer with no definite release date. So PS4 and PC, if you're interested, May 16th, that's your date. And then we have one more game on our list here: Steven Universe, Save the Light, and OK Knockout bundle. PS4, Xbox One, Switch, May 17th. I know nothing about this game. I know Steven Universe is a TV show, animated TV show that ran on Cartoon Network.
There's comics and all that stuff too, but Steven Universe is actually I'd say top 5 favorite things that my wife loves. Like the
Right.
Steven Universe to her is like Pokemon to me. Like it's
Okay.
like heated passion. Brandon's actually the same boat. I don't know about this game specifically, but it's probably going to be a dungeon crawler style game or a brawler game, almost similar to that of the game that got talked about in State of Play, where it's just
It says it's a unique RPG hybrid that combines real-time and turn-based combat.
okay, fair enough. That almost screams Tales of Symphonia to me then, to where you do attacks but you can move around, or I guess kind of like Final Fantasy 15. That would be a better way of describing that. But yeah, Nick, I'm kind of surprised because I feel like if you were to binge a cartoon, Steven Universe would be right up your alley.
Well, I mean, aside from the fact that I didn't have access, I don't do a lot of TV shows for the most part. Adventure Time was more my thing, and Steven Universe was after my time of being at home and having access to Cartoon Network. That makes sense.
Absolutely makes sense. I mean, Adventure
Um,
Time is in the same boat as Steven Universe, like in terms of like just corny humor and whatnot.
Right. Just to clarify, this game that is coming out, it's a bundle with Steven Universe Save the Light, which is its own game, and OKKO, which is another game. And it's also a TV show called OKKO Let's Be Heroes.
I don't think I've ever heard about that one.
Neither have I, but that's May 17th, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. Yeah. All right, moving on.
Okay, Heroes. Okay, KO. Okay.
Like I really just can't find too much about this, but
No, I'm
um,
sorry. I just wanted to confirm because I was like, okay, KO is another Cartoon Network owned show, so that makes a lot of sense that they'd bundle it together. Okay, KO.
Yeah, so that's our thing for game releases for the week. We have a section for this day in gaming. This day in gaming, May 13th.
This what in
This
gaming?
day in gaming, May 13th. We have 2 games on this list. I scrawled the list.
Did you, Nick?
Yeah, I did, and these are the only ones I'd agree with, at least being notable. So starting right at the top, we've got Doom that came out for the Xbox One, PS4, and PC in 2016. The remake from the original Doom. I have put a whopping hour and a half in this game.
Really?
You'd think I'd put more.
Yeah.
You'd think I would, but I don't know what it is, dude. Well, also maybe at the time I wasn't looking for like a first person, like a single player game, and now I am. So it's one of those games I'm going to revisit. But the soundtrack for this game is absolutely brutal. I love it.
Oh yeah. It's a fucking bomb.
Mick Gordon is the composer. He did a fantastic fucking job. The next game we have on this list, and our last game that we have on this list, is Gran Turismo that came out for the PS1 in 1998.
It's so weird that it came out so late in the generation of the PlayStation because PlayStation 1 released in 1994. Probably in Japan. I wonder when it came out in the US. But no, it came out in 1995 in North America. So this game, Gran Turismo, came out 3 years into the life cycle of the PlayStation 1. Which it makes sense because Gran Turismo is very notable for being high end in terms of the graphics for the console. And so taking 3 years to develop on a new 3D like system that the Sony PlayStation offered It's cool. And today's the day it came out. It is officially 21 years old.
Yay!
Yay! Drinking age for Gran Turismo. Don't drink and drive.
No, definitely don't do that. But that's it, folks. That's episode 49.
That's fucking 49, man.
A whopping episode, like fucking 49 episodes. What do you mean? But we're gonna wrap it up here, and I guess we're gonna maybe make a next episode special to some extent.
Maybe, yeah. We're gonna do something. We're gonna figure it out.
We're gonna try.
I will try my darn hardest, and I apologize if it doesn't happen to get the D&D thing going because it needs to happen, man. Or rather, a recorded version of it. The D&D thing is gonna happen. Nick had fun playing his bard, and I had fun trying to murder people unsuccessfully. They cooked my character over an open fire to get information I already told them. They cooked him over an open fire for information I already gave them. And then
it was a mistake, but it just we didn't believe him. So
you can roll for insight to see if he's being honest or not. What
do
you guys?
That just seemed like unnecessary steps to the truth. So we just,
So let's resort to torture. Great.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a slave trader, or he was trying to be at least.
Yeah. But so why are you trying to justify it?
One of the characters then casted speak with animals, and they asked the squirrel, "Hey, did you see some shit?" And they're like, "Yeah, it's exactly what this guy you're torturing said to the T. I'm an innocent creature. You have no reason to not believe me. I'm not being paid off." And they fucking killed him. I believe he fell into the fire, and then two of the characters started curb stomping him, and then one of them tried healing him, but at that point he just burnt to death.
It was like a sarcastic. I can't describe the thing around it, but it was like a sarcastic kind of like, "Oh no, he fell in the fire. Here, put him out quickly. Oh, are you okay? Ooh, woo, oh no, oh he's gone. He's gone.
Dead. Oh no. Whatever I got. Thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers to the Blood Dagger gang.
But yeah, no, thank you very much for listening. Episode 49. This is episode 50. No, this is episode 50 episode 50 is coming next week. I can't speak today. I'm hungry. But
I can't speak to either. I'm sick of shit, dude.
All right. Tyler, where can people find you on the internets?
You can find me right now on Twitter. I'm at 2times Tyler. All letters, so 2times Tyler. It's simple enough, guys. Give it a shot because you'll see me posting random Zelda memes and all that stuff. You need that goodness in your life. But Nick, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram at LRWarrior11. Pretty straightforward, pretty standard. Now the show, you can find us in a bunch of places. Facebook, Instagram, Casual Master Quest. Just put it right there in the search bar. It will pop up. Twitter, it's at MasterQuestPod. And then you can email us also at casualmasterquest@gmail.com. Send us in your comments, questions, concerns. Follow us everywhere. Yeah, just do the thing. We wouldn't be here without you. We wouldn't be doing this without you guys. And I can't believe we're done with 49 episodes and going to our 50th. So thank you very much for listening today. Anything before we close up?
Yes, one last shout out. As people have probably been hearing, we've been doing mid-episode audio clips for a partner podcast known as the Death Saving Bros. This is going to be the last week we get to put it on unless we can somehow talk a sweet deal with them again. But honestly, guys, we were just talking, excitedly about cooking a slave trader. If you like D&D or if you never heard about it before and you want to give it a shot, we got 4 laid back people that I think, 5 technically if you count the DM, that we think you'd be interested in it. And that is the Death Saving Bros podcast. Absolutely give them a shot.
Heck yeah. But that's Tyler. And
that was Nick.
In all his phlegmy splendor, and we're gonna be doing this again even better next week.
Fuck planes.
Fuck planes. I'm just happy to be recording again. I did miss it, and so I'm just very happy that we're back to this, and it's kind of normal, and school's back, and everything's going well. But thank you very much for listening. Don't forget to never stop the grind.
And always respect African Midgardians.
Fuck Canadians.
We'll see you next week. Bye bye. Why are you laughing? You should not be laughing.